All right, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Druthers Brewing Company, and they're headquartered in Saratoga Springs, New York, and this is their Uncurious. So this is a double dry hop New England IPA that comes in at 7% alcohol by volume, 40 IBUs at the time of review. This can is just under 6 weeks old. So back in early September, we had a little bit of a beer tubing get together in Albany, New York. We shared some beers, we reviewed some beers, we had a great time, and we also hit up a handful of breweries, one of which was the Albany location of Druthers. And we had a fantastic time there, and on the way out, I grabbed a mixed 4-pack of their beers, and this was one of the beers I had to grab because, full disclosure, I had it on tap at the brewery, and it was awesome. I remember looking at a good friend of mine and fellow BeerTuber, Mike, from FLX Beer Reviews, right in the eyes. He drank this one, not really, but him and I looked at each other after we took a sip of it, and we were like, this is really good. And we were kind of blown away at how good this beer was. So I had to get a can of it to review, and here we are. Now, I don't know much about it. They don't list the hops, none of that, just 7%, 40 IBUs. I do know that on tap, that batch was probably less than 3 weeks old. I'm reviewing this one about 3 weeks later, so this is just under 6 weeks old. We'll see how it has changed, but it was a fruit explosion, had a beautiful, like, firm to almost bone-dry finish, a little bit of a mild, moderate bitterness. It was just like, wow, if this is kind of like one of their rotating offerings, yeah, sign me up. So, and I really was impressed with Druthers beers as a whole. I've reviewed one other beer from them. Their Modern Kicks was really good. And this is the next one I'm reviewing. The last one I reviewed was actually their the Whitman and Druthers collab, which was their Stinger and Steed Modern West Coast IPA with honey. So coming back to the hazy side of things. So I'm hoping this is just as good as I remember it being on tap. We're using the hashtag not proper glassware. I don't have a Druthers glass, but I do have this awesome Lawson's Finest glass that I'm going to be reviewing for all Lawson, or using in all reviews of Lawson's beers, but why not use it when I can? I mean, let's be honest, any beer that looks in the glass like that with that logo looks fan-fucking-tastic. But let's just show you it from the side because this isn't a Lawson's beer, but it looks awesome. It has that bright, glowing kind of orange color, even on camera. Maybe a little bit more dull, but it does have that beautiful orange color. Murky turbid, you can't see through it. About a finger and a half of a off-white, super fluffy and creamy looking head. Just looks the role and plays the role of a New England IPA, hazy IPA, whatever you want to call it. So let's get a nose. Yeah, man. Freshly squeezed orange juice, tangerine juice, bright peach. A little bit of like a papaya, mango. Has this nice, almost like candied sweetness that isn't over the top, so it doesn't quite approach candy, but it's a little bit more of a confectionery thing. But then I get this beautiful, dank herbaceousness, a little bit of earthy quality as well. A touch of a bready kind of malt quality. It just smells to me, one of those 7% hazy IPAs that a lot of different cities have as their staple beer. Prime example, here in Buffalo, New York, and I guess Western New York as a whole, Big Ditch's Hayburner, 7.2%, and it kind of smells like this. It has nice citrus and orange qualities, stone fruit as well, but it has enough dryness, a little bit of bitterness to break it all up, and it's available everywhere. Now, I don't know with this beer if it's available everywhere. They do have a spiel on the side that I have not read yet, but I have to. I saw a little bit, a couple sentences, so we'll have to check it out at the end, but yeah, this is just awesome. There's not much more to say about it. I want to get into it. Cheers, everyone. That's what precisely this beer is. And even having this one 3 weeks older than when I originally had it, it's not, dare I say, bombastic. Shout out to Paul over at PA Brew News, even though it's not PA Brew News anymore. I think it's Remley's Ales and Lagers, PA Brew News Reviews or something like that. It's PA Brew News. It'll always be. Sorry, Paul. It's just always PA Brew News. Anyway, it kind of just has that feeling of if this was their flagship hazy IPA, always on tap, and it could be. I don't really know, but it could be. Yeah, I could see it. People come back and be like, listen, I just want some Uncurious today. I had a bad day. I want a couple pints of it. For sure. The body and the mouthfeel is what is the most impressive to me. The body is higher side of medium, lower side of full at 7%. It has a viscosity that does not scream 7. It screams 8.5, 9. Some people might not care for that, but it depends on, to me, it's how much is impressive. If you give me a triple IPA that's 10.5 and the body's more 8, it makes it easier to drink. With this, it's giving me the sensation of a 8.5%, 9% beer, but it's 7, so I could drink more and still have that awesome, viscous, kind of thick body. So that's fantastic. The mouthfeel, soft, smooth, creamy, mild to moderately carbonated, but it's just the body and mouthfeel are just awesome in this one. The taste, it's orange, it's grapefruit, it's tangerine, a little bit like a lemon lime. It's sweet, a little bit of candied, but also pithy and rindy. So it's not like over the top with the sweetness. Passes through, definite peach, mango, papaya, creamy, fleshier fruit. So I'd actually lean more to like mango and papaya than I would peach, but kind of stone fruit-esque, apricot, nectarine, kind of in that realm. And then on the finish, it has a dank herbaceousness that has a big earthiness. This isn't floral or pine or grassy or anything like that. It's definitely dank and herbaceous, almost a little bit like a basil and thyme thing, but it doesn't quite reach that level. A little bit tomato stocky, walking through a garden, say like walking through a forest, a damp forest. This is bone dry to me. Again, mild to moderate bitterness, so it really does balance it out. I still think this leans like 55-45 or 60-40 sweetness to dryness and bitterness, but that's kind of, if you're a 50-50 for me, that's my realm. But if you like lean 10% in either direction, either sweet or to the dry and bitter side of things, I'm here for it. I want some kind of balance to some level, right? Like I need some kind of balance, and this has it. This is a fucking joy to drink. This is, and the glass lacing on this is stellar. Look at the fucking glass lacing. I know a lot of people don't care. I don't even usually care, but when you drink a beer and you can see the sips you take, something about it, man. I'm gonna pour in the rest of the goodies, see if it changed anything. Ooh, there were a bunch of chunks. Let's see if that does change anything. Wow, there was chunks. Again, I've had this in my fridge for about 3 weeks, so is what it is. It almost looks like seeds, like orange seeds in there. Anyway. Didn't really do, maybe a little bit more dank and herbaceous kind of quality, but not really. And again, the lacing is still through the fucking roof. Put my stupid face out of the way. Look at that lacing. Anyway, this is an awesome, pretty well balanced beer with fantastic body and mouthfeel, good fruity flavors, but not over the top. It's a luscious beer that still remains super crushable and drinkable. It's just a beer that if I lived, again, in the capital region and I could get this on tap regularly, I'd be happy. It's not the best New England IPA I've ever had or hazy, but for a 7% beer, it does a lot of things extremely well, and I'm here for it. So I'm going to give this a pretty solid rating. Uncurious from Druthers, even with almost 6 weeks of age on it. Like I said, it was a little bit more intense, a little bit more flavorful, just under 3 weeks old. But this all day, every day, is getting a high 4.25, a 4.3. This is fantastic. I love it. I really do. I don't, to get much higher, I don't know. It's 7%, so it's, I don't go nuts about like, 7 or sub 7% hazies a lot of times, but this is one of those beers where like if you gave it a 4.5, 4.6, 4.7, I couldn't argue with you. Like I'm just saying 4.3 because I think, you know what? It is a 4.3. I was going to say maybe go higher. No, it's a 4.3. Ratings don't matter. You just know I like this beer a lot. Price point availability, like I said, I picked up that mixed 4-pack with $16 4-pack. I would hope that's kind of the going rate for something like this. $15, $16 4-pack. If it's higher than that, all right, 7%, but I wouldn't like to see this over 18, and even then that'd be high. 15 to 16 should be the highest it should be, but this is awesome. And then availability is Druthers, capital region. I know we went to a grocery store there, and the other half of FLX Beer Reviews, Dan, another good friend of mine, he'd like check the groceries, area for like beer, the grocery area, the beer selection, and he did say they had some Druthers. I don't know if they had this, but he definitely said they had some Druthers. So if you're in and around the Albany area, Saratoga Springs, they also have, Schenectady and Clifton Park, like you should be able to get this one if it's rotating, if it's, I don't know, maybe this is a limited release. I have no idea. But check out their website. Maybe they have some information there or some of their social media. Just if you're in the area and you haven't had this beer, seek it out. For 7% beer, it is great. So if you've had this one before, please post in the comment section. Like, oh yeah, 7%, nothing in the chest, nothing on the palate. It hides it extremely well. And also, again, the body and the mouthfeel really does. This is one of those beers I could just drink from a body and mouthfeel perspective, but also the fact that it's very flavorful, that helps out a lot. So anyway, if you've had this one before, comment section. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. Last one I have from Druthers is their Oatmeal Stout, which I also had on tap. I'll get to that at some point in the next month or two. It's an older can. That was the one bad thing about the 4-pack. That can, that Oatmeal Stout, substantially old, but hopefully it has held up. To the next one. Cheers.